The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 13th day of June, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. I'm just with pineapples in my teeth. I was eating pineapple and it stuck on. No.
Hey.
I just wanted you to believe me. How you doing? It's happy Monday to you, Sherry.
Happy Monday to you, Jamal. I'm doing well. I had a great weekend. It was so great. I came up out of my wig, pulled out my natural hair.
Me too, girl. Yeah.
Whatever. The funny thing about this natural hair by 12 o'clock, I'm gonna be looking like a Cabbage Patch Kid. The shrinkage for those women out there who understand is real.
What does shrinkage mean? It means something different for men.
Well, yeah, see how long my hair really is, and then it goes like this, but it will go even more. But nevertheless, I saw Jurassic Park. So excited!
Oh, right, because you dissed me for Jurassic Park when I called you, yeah.
Lies from Dawn Below.
No, that was Shanta. That was Shanta. She went too, and then had Aline Stevenson Swan as well. Couldn't watch the Jamal Hartman Unfiltered this past weekend because she went to see Jurassic Park or something. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's been talking about this for months.
Yeah, everyone was into this Jurassic Park. And, first off, folks, everybody thinks I'm like the soft spot for Leanna, like she could do no wrong to me, whatever. I just felt like I broke Leanna's heart just now backstage. She says, "Oh, so we're gonna be discussing your show today," and I was like, "No," and like her face, like Leanna's got these reactions that, like, my goodness, she must have never got in trouble when she is young because she's got these looks she gives, right? I'm just like, literally got me feeling all guilty. So we'll talk about it when she comes on. But Lee, Big Bra's got you. It's if you
see.
What?
It's those faces that you have to be careful about. That's the thing. I can't believe my sister is innocent, and that's fine. I'm good with it because I'm real with you, Lee. But she's the one that's gonna get us past the front door, and then I'll come through the back with the, But I don't believe that face.
I see what you mean, sister.
Yes.
You know what? Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to begin the traditional work week. We've got Tiffany Painter coming from OUTBermuda, stopping by to discuss Pride Month. The Daily Play is Who Said It, so it should be interesting. And folks, we have a conversation to have. We have a conversation to have this morning. Yes, we do. No, this is true. This is true, Sharon. This is true. So let's start with this. On Friday, once this show was over, we got some news of the CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Authority, Charles Jeffers II, was no longer. He and the BTA had parted ways. Earlier this year, we had, funny enough, they were in a picture together walking, former Finance Minister Curtis Dickinson, who exited the cabinet. Then we also had now former Minister of National Security, Renee Ming, who exited the cabinet, where there was like an ego show with the premier. I fire her, I resign, like just unbelievable behavior. But we got to remember that David Burt is relatively still young. And that's more than just a number in terms of how he lets things play out sometimes. That said, something is very concerning to, and I'm not going to say me, but us as the public. And that's what we're going to discuss this morning. So the question of the morning, what are your thoughts on the signing of non-disclosure agreements after separation from an employer? What are your thoughts on signing non-disclosure agreements after separation from an employer? Well, Sherry, if you don't mind, I just want to go to a couple of stories. So
Sure.
let's bring one story up. So it's basically the Canadian bobsleigh skeleton athletes the Canadian bobsleigh skeleton athletes object to non-disclosure clause in contract, right? So
Mhm.
this story was on cba.ca, posted on June 6, 2022. And basically, the athletes feel the National Federation is trying to silence them and saying a clause in their athlete agreement contradicts the principles of safe sport, right? The clause has been in the contract for at least 4 years, according to several athletes who spoke to the Canadian press last Monday. And then there's another story, right? I hope they're not trying to charge me to read it. These paywalls. This is from Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, right? Where basically the athletic director, Darren Boatwright, got a settlement of $300,000 separation agreement. He felt he was fired without just cause, right? Without cause. And for those of you who don't know, in the US, you can be fired without cause in almost a majority of states. I think it is at this point, right? They can let you go as
At
long as
will.
at will, yes, as long as it's
Mhm.
not a protected class, right? They can let you go. Well, after the separation agreement, according to it, it basically says that no further details will be given, right? Because of a non-disclosure agreement, right? Here's my problem with non-disclosure agreements. Here's my problem. The problem with a non-disclosure agreement exists when it comes to jobs in public service. If you are in a public space and the monies that you're being paid are coming from the taxpayer,
Mm.
you owe it to the people to explain what happened. I don't give one flying, this ain't Jamel Unfiltered, crap
Okay.
about cabinet protocol and procedures. Because without the people, you would not be in cabinet. So for a public sector,
Yeah.
non-disclosure agreements should not exist unless they put the country at risk in terms of war, right? In terms of anything that puts us up in risk, like globally, yes. But no, the people deserve to know if it is public service, public sector. Now, in private, I completely understand because
Mhm.
private companies are, guess what? Private.
Yes. I didn't
What are
mean
your,
to laugh that far.
what are your thoughts, folks? What are your thoughts on signing non-disclosure agreements after separation from an employer?
Sometimes I forget I'm not muted and I just have these
Yeah.
bursts.
Taylor Swift.
But no, it was good stuff. But no, I like your point of view and I understand it, Jamal. I was wondering which way you was rocking and rolling this morning, but I get it. I was also thinking of a private sector more so than the public itself. And like you said, I understand from a private sector, number one, they're private and they could do whatever the heck they want in regard to protecting either intellectual property and so forth. In regards to like technical places, you have people that write codes that are specific to what it is. I can understand that.
Mhm.
But, in regard to just overall, even in the public sector, we must be sure that we read that, negotiate that, and be upfront with that. And I say that because in one of the articles that I read, it was indicating, I think it was on CNBC, indicated that somebody signed off on a non-disclosure agreement and did not read it all, and they could not be in that particular field for their entire life.
Mhm.
Now, at this age right now, let me sign away my social work.
Hold on. I think we need to add clarity, because this is where I think people got lost. Non-disclosure is different from non-compete.
Yes.
That needs to be said. Non-compete clauses are necessary. They are, because what you don't want in the private sector is someone taking your intelligence elsewhere. And let's be honest, it happens in Bermuda. It's happened with us. Like, people are cutthroat like that. So I believe non-compete clauses are necessary. Non-disclosure, also what Sherry just mentioned, in private entities, right? You could have someone, an engineer, working on something for years for a company, and something goes wrong, and both parties agree to separate, and now that person takes that intelligence over to another tech company. You have to protect yourself in some ways. Now, I know in radio, at least back when I started in radio, it was normal to have at least a 6-month non-compete, so you couldn't go to anyone. In television, I think it's usually a year. So you'll see people that may leave ABC and you won't see them, and then a year later they'll pop up. There's usually a non-compete on that level. Non-disclosure, I'm really talking about public interest. Public interest, like even things where, people are paid off. This is what really gets me. There's sexual abuse taking place in the workplace. Sexual abuse in the workplace. You file a claim against the company and you got a settlement. All of a sudden, part of that settlement is hush hush. That is dangerous. That is dangerous. And because you get paid off and you get to live happily ever after, sipping margaritas or pina coladas or whatever those things are called on the beach, right? I forget. I don't drink them. Daiquiris. That's what they are. Daiquiris. But you're enjoying life. But guess what? Because you didn't speak up, because you got yours, now someone else is going to be subject to that abuse. What are your thoughts on non-disclosure agreements, folks? Sorry, go ahead. I know I just cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Sorry. In addition to that, though, Jamal, you bring up a point, and again, in a few articles I read, indicates that some of that does not even cover in an NDA, meaning that if abuse does occur, then it's a lot of you're going to have to go to court and all of that to be able to lift it in regard to having these conversations, which shouldn't be. Which is your point, which shouldn't be. We should not have to be silenced in regards to various abuse. Now, when it comes to the public sector, you know how I feel. Be transparent. Let me know what's going on, especially when people are paying taxes upon taxes, travel authority taxes and authorization taxes, payroll tax, property tax, land tax, all types of taxes are going on. I should know what the heck's going on and why Mr. Dickinson and Miss Renee and now, Uncle Charles.
And as Nicole Walker says, Dr. Weldon, let's not forget, it's a lot. It's a lot. And in a short amount of time, but let's go to the comments, because we've got Kathy Rogers saying, so disappointed to hear about Charles Jefferson no longer being the CEO of BTA. What is really going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Competent, egotistical, I'm not gonna. This is not unfiltered. Stop that. You can't. And
it's already Jamal. Children are in the cause.
You can't say these things. Nicole Walker says, "I want to be able to speak my truth," and that's the point. We should be able to. Non-disclosure agreements in the public sector, at least, are not in the best interest. Non-disclosure in private companies are sometimes also not in the best interest. I'll say this much, right? I get, as an entrepreneur, as an employer, as a business owner, I understand the purpose of non-disclosures. I believe in non-competes and non-disclosures from that perspective. But honestly, if I'm that bad of a person, if I am operating something that's poor and so on, speak freely. But what I will say is just remember, there's a side to your story, another side to your story that you're telling. So for me, that's just me as an individual. I don't speak for my company, my partners, or even Sherry and the others on the show. I'm not speaking for them. For me personally, No, I don't. I'm cool with not having a non-disclosure because at the end of the day, you can tell your story. What I will say is be very careful. Be very careful because when you tell your stories, there's another side, and it's always up to that person whether they want to share. Karen Simmons for you sharing.
If you agree to employment and signed a non-disclosure agreement, thus ensuring the confidentiality of any propriety information that for that private company, then I'm okay. For government employment, no.
I think we're aligned, Aunt Karen. I think we're aligned with that. I will
Mhm.
say this though. My issue is not the non-disclosure agreement at the beginning. My issue is the non-disclosure agreement at the end. Like
Yeah,
get this huge payoff. And I mean, I've seen non-disclosure agreements. The whole agreement, it'll be 14 pages of can't say this about the company, can't say that. And I'm just like, if you weren't so messed up, nobody would have anything to say.
absolutely.
Arena says, in the public sector, we need to know. This seems to be beyond the great resignation. Whoever is next up won't won't they want to know why others decided to leave? Is the problem still there? Well, here's the thing. There are many people that suffer from a syndrome. I don't know what it's called, but that syndrome is called, Project Pat, Project Pat Sherry.
Yes,
You're from the South. Project
yes.
Pat had this song, She Don't Want to Be Saved, Don't Save Her. You all remember that song? Well,
Sure do.
there's this syndrome. There's this syndrome that I think many of us have, that we can save certain things. I'm going to tell you, with the egos that exist in certain places, I'm not quite sure Jesus Christ could save some of these individuals. We have got to understand that when certain people are in certain spaces, they don't have control of their homes. They didn't have control when they were growing up. They were the geeks. They were the nerds. It was this thing we said about conscription into the regiment, that it was a space where people who got bullied, it was a place where people who
Mm.
were nobodies in school, it was a place where people who always wanted to feel loved and respected go, and they rise up through the ranks to get that respect that they've always wanted. The same as to politicians. Nobody knew David Burt. Some of these guys that got these ministry positions, they couldn't go outside and play until they were 21. And that was when they were
Jamal.
in college. No, we have to have honest conversations about egos, because these egos are ruining the country that so many people love. And when non-disclosure agreements are signed, again, I don't know
Yeah.
if they have, but there are things that have been said that, well, we can't disclose what's being said in cabinet. Forget that. Forget
It,
that. This is about the greater public interest. Go ahead, Sharon.
it is. It's called the part of it is the Secrets Act. They may have them sign that in regard to what it is that is going on in different department sectors. I know that I had to sign that as well. But in the nature, of course, of the information that I was holding, I understood. Jamal, okay. But yes, on this honest conversations, I do agree with you in the sense of not signing it at the end. If that's something that is very upfront and to the beginning of any type of employment, but I also think you should be able to negotiate it. I don't think it should be one-sided in regard to that, but it all depends on how
You got
bad.
you got these employers and companies. They will show you money that they know you'll never get to keep you quiet.
Hmm.
You know how it goes. Sam Cat Place says, haven't experienced it. I'm mixed. Maybe to protect the employee, but more often the employer from he say, she say. Thankfully, I was able to be transparent, and all was not lost in the end. I can write a book. Jamal, you hit the nail on the, no, she said,
You
but
hit it.
Jamal hit it on the head real hard. See, look at me trying to say what I think you want to say. Sam Caplay says, one thing though, if your work spoke for itself, they can't ever take that from you, and you have your story. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Shayna
Hmm.
Smith says, Jamal is shaking the table this morning. I forgot where I was. I forgot where I was. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Shayna.
Sam Cat places Jamal, Ego City up on the hill. And Zakia Johnson Lord says, well, we are kicking off the week of some candid feedback and thoughts, huh? Okay, ready. Well, folks, you know what? We just got to turn up the heat because we've got Tiffany Painter from OUTBermuda coming on. And, these conversations often turn up the temperature
Yeah,
on the
hot.
coolest day. And so, but let's bring Leanna in because I need to make sure I didn't break Lee's heart. Let's see what Lee's saying this morning.
Gosh, the heat
Why,
is shrinking my hair.
why are you laughing at Leanna?
Me?
Yeah?
This is nah. I'm not laughing at Liana.
Let's bring Lee in. Good morning, Lee. How you saw Sherry talking?
No, I saw you trying to start stuff, but it's okay. Good morning. It's Monday morning. We're feeling good. Sherry, the natural curls are popping, loving it. Mal, you got to take the pineapple out your teeth before you come
Yeah,
on the show.
yeah.
You got to, come on. Etiquette. No, let's go. Etiquette.
Why you gotta embarrass me in front of people? Like you couldn't tell me out. No, Lee. Lee thought that we were going to be discussing.
I did. And you know why? Because on Sunday morning, I heard a lot of ruckus going on about this podcast that just dropped. So Sunday, I decided to say, let me get my cup of tea and go off on my porch in the morning. Sit out in the fresh air and let's play this podcast, this unfiltered podcast that was just good. I don't know. I think it was Uncle Phil in the chat group that was like, I need more of this and I need more of that. And I just had to find out what was really going on.
Well, the first few seconds in.
Woo.
So hold on. The audience don't know what you're talking about. So and Uncle Phil counted my cuss words apparently too.
He sure did. He sure did. And told you that there needs to be more in the future.
Yes, he did. I got one person who said, look, I think you need a disclaimer, parental advisory before you go live. But basically, folks, I decided on Friday night that I was going to go on my YouTube channel and address the state of Bermuda tourism. And YouTube didn't allow me. I had to go through a process, and it wasn't like doing the daily hour. Apparently, I have a reputation, apparently. So Saturday night, without any fanfare, I decided to go live, and a few people showed up and have a discussion, an honest discussion, a discussion that I don't believe a lot of people quite understood what I shared. And what's interesting, I learned this from Eminem. I didn't learn this from any classroom. But when you use people's own information to make your points, they come across more credible. And so I felt like it was a conversation. It's a conversation that Bermudians need to listen to. They need to watch. And not because it's me, but because there's no one else that's going to tell you what it is, like it is, as it is. At the end of the day, your government's out here got you thinking everything's hunky-dory and things are great. Nah, player, it ain't great. Some of the language I want to use right now, I can't because this is the daily hour.
Ooh, his chest is burning.
Folks, I love Bermudians, man. I love Bermuda. I can't stand the government.
It was a good show. Liana, you and I had a similar situation. I was making breakfast, getting my coffee together. And as I said, I went to see Jurassic Park. So I said, let me get my mind right. Let me start afresh. Jamal is always in my ear, like every day, all day, even on the weekend. Let me bring him to breakfast. And I did. And so I was around the kitchen listening. And so I was like, okay, Jamal. I said, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. But it was good stuff, Jamal. It really was.
I would just urge people out there that's watching that haven't seen it yet. I have to stay unbiased in my own opinions and whatnot, but just go have a watch when you have a chance.
Yeah, I'll tell you, honestly, if you're offended by a certain language, don't watch it. It's not the daily hour language.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
No, and he says this is not the daily hour,
No, people come with expectations. I'm not trying to take my crew here down with me, folks. They have nothing to do with it. They didn't even know it was happening. But Lee, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're forgiven.
See, we be cool. We back. Sherry, on the other hand, she'll still be saying, no, you're not forgiven. But Lee, you ready for news break?
Let's do the news.
All right, over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamel and Sherry, and good morning and happy Monday to all of you that are tuned in with us this morning. It is the beginning of another traditional work week, and I hope you all are up and ready for a new day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, in today's top stories, foul play has not been suspected at this time regarding the lifeless body of a 70-year-old man found over the weekend. Now, police and emergency services responded to a report of an unresponsive 70-year-old male located at a Victoria Street in the city of Hamilton residence just after 3 on Sunday afternoon. On arrival, it was discovered that there were no signs of life present and death was pronounced at the scene by an attending physician. Now, the scene was forensically processed by police and an investigation has commenced. An autopsy is anticipated in due course to determine the cause of death. However, we said foul play is not yet suspected. Now, police say that they are aware of social media posts circulating regarding the deceased. Now, anyone who may have information regarding this incident, in particular his movements prior to his death, is encouraged to call police on 211. No further information will be given until the next of kin have been notified. Now, these signs have become famous in many destinations. You can't help but notice the colorful marquee and the need to take a photo with it. What are we talking about? We're talking about the large country name signs that have become most popular around the world in tourist destinations. While the city of Hamilton is seeking permission to install a replica 40-foot long Bermuda sign on Front Street. Now, if successful, the sign will be placed on the existing cycle area that is level and concrete surface at number 1 Car Park immediately adjacent to the Bermuda Visitor Service Center on Front Street. Now, this is all in an effort to create photogenic opportunities for visitors. Now, the sign is and was designed by Keon Miners of Led by Design and beat out dozens of other proposals in a public competition as part of last year's Vivid Public Art Initiative. Now, city spokesperson said that they are excited that the Bermuda Marquee sign project is progressing and believe it will create an iconic piece of public art that celebrates the local arts community and Bermudian culture. So what are your thoughts on the sign? Is this a good addition to Bermuda's tourism product? We'll let you decide. And once again, our athletes overseas have shined brightly this weekend after competing in various sports. Now, firstly, a big shout out to the Bermuda Special Olympic team, which has concluded its competition at the 2022 Special Olympics USA Summer Games in Florida, making an excellent showing to claim 4 medals. Equestrian Eden Worley won a bronze medal in the Western Equestrian B1 class. Micah Lambert won a silver medal in tennis singles. Bridget Marshall won a bronze medal in tennis singles. And the 2 tennis players teamed up to win a bronze medal in the tennis mixed doubles. Then Bermuda's own Sakari Famous finished 15th in the high jump final at the 2022 NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Oregon on Saturday and became the first female high jump All-American for her university. Then, as we learned last week, the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race fleet is starting to arrive in Bermuda this morning with Visit Sanya China crossing the finish line and first claiming victory into Bermuda, while Go to Bermuda, our very own boat, finished in second place, doubling its points and claiming another consecutive podium place and the team's highest place in the 2019-2020 edition. So congratulations to them. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 82 and a low near 76 degrees. If you're not starting to feel the heat, or if you are starting to feel the heat, that's because the humidity has been turned up just a little bit more as we await the first day of summer. Now, bright and sunny skies is how we'll start today, and humid. There will be a chance of morning and late afternoon showers. Now, this is because a ridge of high pressure to the east holds the bright and humid pattern through Tuesday, while keeping most of the nearby moisture at bay. The warm and humid south to southwesterly breeze may help generate late afternoon to early evening showers. Towards midweek, a cold front will descend from the north, giving rise to cloud cover, wet weather, and increasing winds. That's all for the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Thanks so much, Lisa, for that. Shout out to the Special Olympics team too.
Oh yeah, they racked up. They have been racking up.
Doing a thing. Yeah. I wish it was much closer than Orlando. I would love to kind of support things. You know, I mean, when the Bermuda national team was in Miami last year, I took a little ride down to Fort Lauderdale, technically. But no, I will always try to support Bermudians if they're close by. I know there's been quite a few who have been in a town over in Wellington jumping horses. So I just wish we kind of shared that when Leanna was talking about that stuff. I'm like, okay, this is after the fact, but we don't know. But you've got Bermudians everywhere now, folks. Let us know where you're performing. So thank you, Lee. What we've got days of the year, Sherry. Give it to us.
I'm going to give it to you. Today is World Softball Day. And Jamal, I know these balls fly right over your head, but for those that love a fast-paced game, you can play indoors and give you all the thrill and excitement of baseball. Then it's time to check out softball. Softball is much maligned variation of baseball that has an exciting history and just as fierce a spirit of competition as the more famous baseball. If you know and love this game, then check it out. It's World Softball Day.
I used to actually enjoy going to the Diamond in town and going to watch the softball games years ago. So is that still going on? I think it is.
It's not as high profile, but I remember going on there because my mom played, and I just enjoyed going to the canteen where Dr. Dolan used to run it for years, right? So getting my fries while she played and got in trouble while she played, shouting out from the dugout, boy, that was me. Yeah, that was me under the bleachers doing something.
Agree.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Lee.
See you soon. Have a great day.
You guys too. Bye.
Yeah, but folks, do not go anywhere. We've got Tiffany Painter coming up from OUTBermuda. We've got a very important conversation to have. It's always a very important conversation to have. And it's Bermuda and Tiffany Painter. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Oh, no. You know what? Yeah, we'll be right back. I was going to say something. I'm not going to do that. Stick with me.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Salter's bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Fruit juice plays a major role in our food lives due to its health benefits, convenience, and sheer deliciousness. For many, it's the second beverage we encounter as infants and the one we return to as adults. Good eats in a glass. Lakewood Juice Company has been bottling the diverse line of pure organic and premium juices since 1935, and they are a flavorsome natural source of antioxidants and vital nutrients. This month, we're featuring Lakewood Organic Pure Lemon and Lime Juices and Beet Ginger Turmeric and Pineapple Ginger Juice blends. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical Health, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed on our website so you don't miss things that happened this weekend. Yeah, it was an email that went out for a chance to win some prizes and promotions and updates, and we were celebrating 500 shows. So make sure you hit us up, sign up for our stuff. Also, if you're on the go, you can be like all of those others right now, and there's a lot of you right now tuned in on BCG Radio Download the app, available for both Android and Apple devices, so you can listen to us every time we go live. And you will not have to miss good conversations like our guest right now. We have Tiffany Painter from Bermuda. Good morning, our good friend. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on board on the show again. I appreciate being here.
I
And
like the again part. Sherry is pretty intimidating, and some people may not want to come back.
yes, Sherry is definitely the more intimidating of the two of you. Yeah.
Tiffany,
That was
we had thank you. I was to say we had a yoga moment, like a very namaste, and
I felt the sarcasm. I felt the sarcasm, and it tickled my heart. Yeah.
But congratulations on your 500 shows. I saw the email come through earlier this morning, and well done. It's amazing what you've been able to pull off and contribute in such a short period of time. I would also like to say, whenever I can get that like daily hour cup, let me know. Like I'll be back with the cup.
We got you because look, after the first time, your family, right? So I'm not calling their names, Keith or Shanta. They'll get you your mug. No, keep in mind, there are some hosts on the show that they are still working on theirs, but I'm gonna put it on them. But no,
Tiffany, all I'm gonna say is, luckily I won wine right before I signed my contract.
Really?
Did you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement as well?
I don't think so, because I'm talking about it.
You know what? I think you're on to something. I think we're gonna have to speak to management about these non-disclosures. But Tiffany, honestly, thank you for coming back. Thank you. Obviously, you've been in a new role. Oh, actually, I'm gonna let you talk about that. Tell us a bit. So you're here for OUTBermuda today. Tell us a bit about OUTBermuda. If this is someone's first time tuning in, what is OUTBermuda? And especially with your new role, what is your role within the organization?
Thank you. So OUTBermuda is Bermuda's sole LGBTQ plus focused charity. And we support and promote the well-being, health, dignity, safety, and security of the LGBT plus community. My role as ED, I think I've been on board since March 23rd, so maybe 3 weeks in now. But my role is really to take our organization from what is really has been a working board. It has not, I'm the first staff member they've ever had. I'm part-time at this stage. They've never had staff. So it's always been a working board of volunteers behind the scenes trying to really support and promote the well-being of our community. And I think a lot of people don't know that. I think people have thought that maybe this was a well-oiled machine of full staff, but really this is a very grassroots organization of volunteers who have, for the last few years, helped propel our rights and dignities in the community. So my role as ED, and the reason why I came aboard is because the board wants to transition from kind of our sole focus being on marriage equality to a more community-oriented shift. So looking to provide more strategic programming and outreach throughout the year, looking to take over Pride and help organize that. And so that's, without going on, that's kind of the high level, what OUTBermuda does and what I anticipate my role will be moving forward.
I like the fact that what you just said really emphasized what I think is needed, which is going beyond just the whole marriage through the courts thing, but it's more on a high level. So I appreciate that. And I think many others in the community will as well, the community impact. Not sure how much you can say or even have information on, but what people want to know, what's the latest? What has OUTBermuda been up to since the Privy Council ruling? Is there anything that you can share?
So in talking with the board chair, as far as I know, there is a group of individuals looking to progress this forward in the European courts. But OUTBermuda is really stepping back at this point to allow that group of individuals to go forward wherever they feel is best and wisest, step forward to appeal the appeal. And I think that's the thing is like OUTBermuda is really in hiring me, sending a message to our community, our allies, and everyone in between and out of that circle that we want to progress to a different stance, to make a different impact on the community at this time. I think marriage equality, as much as it is an umbrella fight for equality and dignity and rights, it does only affect a small section of our community. And so the board, in their wisdom of wanting to look to see how can we impact the wider community, people, young people who are not looking to get married, older people who marriage is not even something that they are looking forward to or looking to plan, how can we impact those people outside of that remit, which is not an easy task. It's not an easy challenge. Our needs and our values and perspectives are as diverse as our community itself. I mean, so often, I mean, as I don't know, I went to Queen's University, and I would often be the sole Black person in a room full of white people. And when a topic of race comes up, all the heads turn to look, and as if I am the sole voice on all Black issues, right? And I think it's important to know that even though I'm coming into this role, for anyone tuning in, there is no sole, like, monolithic voice of the LGBTQ community. But what we can do, and what we are anticipating doing moving forward, is tapping into the voices of the community, gathering as many people as possible on subcommittees and on growing the board so that we can figure out what the community needs and then deliver that.
Indeed, Sherry.
Nice. June is a happy month. It's also known as Pride Month. And, you know, it's my birthday month, so I just love June.
Are you a Gemini? Does it make you a Gemini?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's why we're going to get along as soon as you come to my yoga class.
I am. So why is Pride Month necessary?
So first, Pride in June is really a North American kind of US date. Pride all over the world is celebrated in different times. So in Australia, I think it's January, February. In BC, I think it's another month. In what is it? Some places celebrate in August, and I think really it depends on the historical kind of event or significance of that particular zone. So we are, even though like internationally Pride isn't celebrated in June, we have been celebrating Pride in August, and we'll continue to do that this year because of the Stubbs bill. Do either of you know about the Stubbs bill?
No.
But the audience may not, so please.
Okay, right, no problem. So the Stubbs bill is like a bill put by, I think it was a private member's bill put forward by Dr. John Stubbs, and that bill helped to decriminalize homosexuality. And so we honor that and we celebrate that in the month of August for us. But then in June, we were really kind of jumping on the bandwagon of almost an international wave of Pride. Whereas before, Pride was about protest. I think in the last decade or so, we've moved to a more of a celebratory community building effort. And that's what we will be looking to do in August, even though we are celebrating Pride with everyone else in June.
Okay. And I understood it was the Stonewall riots, I think, that occurred in June, as to why June is significant in that. Basically going to a club and a riot began in regards to going to a gay club or something of that nature.
Yes, exactly.
So what is
you've done your homework, Sherry?
Just a little. So tell us, what is OUTBermuda doing to raise awareness and education during Pride Month?
So we have an amazing board chair, or he's going to chair the Pride committee, and his name is Olatunji Tucker. And he and his committee are working on the first day of Pride, I think it's August 25th, they're pulling together a forum or a panel discussion on gender and gender binaries and transgender rights. And then I think the next day we're doing a Pride happy hour, looking to just gear up towards the weekend where we do a Pride day on Saturday, a Pride party in the evening on that Saturday. And then for those of us that are more spiritual and maybe won't be nursing hangovers on the Sunday, there's a Pride church ceremony and sermon at Wesley Methodist, and a beach day following that. So it's a full weekend from the Thursday to the Sunday. It's going to be an amazing weekend and many opportunities for people to get involved, whether you're part of the LGBTQ plus community or an ally or supporter or just want to show solidarity in some way. Many opportunities to get involved, to participate, and then also to volunteer.
And I love that you say that, Tiffany, because it moves me to my next thoughts. And what are your thoughts on those Bermudians who still don't support the LGBTQ plus community?
I think it's there's always going to be people in the community who are unmovable or unmoved. Their opinions won't change, whether that's because of their religious beliefs or their homophobia or bias or prejudice. But for us, it's really our job to help move the dial for those who may be closer to a more compassionate stance. And it's also our role mostly to support and lift and uplift our community, ensure that our community is supported and nurtured, and just basically to celebrated and supported. So yes, there's always going to be that segment of the community that is against us, but there's always going to be the other side of the community who understands us, supports us, and as well as just our community itself. I think you can see, throughout history, people change, people's opinions and ideas change as they get older. Their ideas and opinions change as they interact with our community. I know that my family and members of my own family have changed just from my existence and just from having conversations with me. And I think that is what's important, is to have those conversations, and it's going to be our role. I foresee it being our role to be the person and the organization that initiates those conversations and make sure that we can move forward to have more deeper, interactive, and impactful conversations as a whole. Because that's how the barriers come down. That's how the stigmas are addressed. That's how biases are removed. As long as we kind of remain separate in our silos, we can never really come to an understanding of each other's full humanity and appreciation.
If you have any questions or comments for Tiffany, please share. I will get through as many as possible. I can't answer this, and maybe you can. Do you feel there's been progress made in Bermuda, not over time, but just within the last maybe 2 to 3 years?
Definitely. I would say there's definitely been progress. One of those places of progress was kind of the symbolic moment of progress was 2019 Pride. That 2019 Pride, that opportunity really was a moment of change within family units. I heard so many stories about conversations that had never happening for finally within family units. I think when we have that type of level of support and visibility, people feel encouraged and emboldened to be who they are. They feel supported and safe to come out or let people in, so to speak, into their truth and into their reality. Mm-hmm. And for individuals, I do sense that there is a change, just anecdotally, right? We don't really have mechanisms in place to or status or statistic reports to see how has it changed as a whole. Mm-hmm. But we do have some data on our website to show that the community as a whole has progressed from being somewhat against to more neutral to more in support of over the period of the last 10 years. And you can find that on our website at OUTBermuda.org. And yeah, it statistically, there has been changes. I think we need to tap into those stats as well. But anecdotally, for sure, personally, I feel that change very much.
I would rather feel something than to be told by politicians that something is, right?
Yeah.
That's what we miss politically. One of the challenges I have is I always say to people, if you're fighting a cause, take a note out of the LGBTQ plus how they've gone about their fight. But there's obvious biases with that. You all have been able to drum up a lot of white support, a lot of liberal white support. There are black groups who have tried to fight causes that are just, right? But they haven't been able to drum up that white, especially liberal support. We've had other people on this show, and they want to separate the issues. We can't. As a black man, we can't, right? Speak about intersection. Is it called intersectionality? Whatever.
Yes.
That word. You know me. I'm not the brightest bubble. But just speak to us about that. How do we get to that space where? Because I think the black community, again, no measurement or stats here. The black community is. It seems it's going to be a bit harder to get them on this cause as a collective because they feel neglected. They look. Whether you agree or not, there are people who feel we should be focusing on reparations just as much. There are people who feel we should be focusing on changing a system that takes our young man out of spaces where they want to put a gun in their hands and pick up a book. But where's that line where we just say, here, we're all fighting our causes. Let's do this together. Or is there one? And I'm sorry to put you in this space, but you know, I think you can handle it, Ted. Because look, let's just be clear. When she came on, she had a young person with her. She gets it. She gets it. So this is not me asking you to speak on behalf of OUTBermuda, more as a human being.
I can happily speak to that as a human being because earlier you were talking about basically people who felt bullied in high school or unseen in high school getting into positions of power. And then what they do with that power when they get there, right? And so what is it that those who were without power do with it when they have power? It's very important for the oppressed not to become oppressors, right? And so what we do in terms of intersectionality, here I am sitting before you as a woman, Black and gay. So these are the intersections of my identity. And I believe reparations is a worthwhile cause because I'm Black. I believe the fight for sexism is for the end of sexism and the end of patriarchal kind of hierarchical thinking is valid as a woman. And then here I am also sitting here as a gay person without full and access and equal rights within my country. So I am existing on levels of oppression in terms of identity politics, right? And I think to what you're saying, or to what you said, Jamal, we really do need to understand that this is not the oppression Olympics. No oppression exists in isolation to one another. I think this thing that kind of links all these oppressions is really this kind of hierarchical thinking in terms of placing humanity on different levels of equality or equity. So, and we think about, and we think this way all the time, or constantly categorizing, constantly ranking and placing things in the system of hierarchical ascension, right? And so somebody's always going to be on the bottom when we think that way. And that's really a mindset shift. That's a heart shift. And that's a shift that has to happen, not just for the LGBTQ plus community. That shift has to happen in every community, like for us all to progress and not be trying to fight or isolate or make the LGBTQ plus issues a white issue, because it's not. It's our issue. It's all of us.
All righty. I'm going to go to the audience. Karen Simmons, she says, good morning, Ms. Painter. As the ED, has OUTBermuda considered connecting with the Nonprofit Alliance of Bermuda to engage, collaborate with other nonprofit leaders, executive directors?
Yes, and in answer to you, Karen, we have. I think emails have been flying back and forth from, I think, Nicola Feldman and other members for OUTBermuda to come on board. So it's definitely something we're looking to get involved in.
All righty. We've got Traveling Trotty says, Traveling Trotty says, thank you to OUTBermuda for the pronoun workshop given to faculty at Bermuda College. It has been valuable for my interactions with students. Speak to us about that. What is the pronoun workshop? What are pronouns?
So this workshop was just one of many ways in which we're looking to build awareness and education in Bermuda. So, people within our community want to be addressed using the pronouns that they choose. So my pronouns are she and her. Some people's pronouns are they and them. And we do these workshops to help people understand and kind of navigate new waters and new language emerging within the LGBTQ plus community. So this was one workshop. I'm so glad that people are participating and really finding that they are learning from it, and it is helping people to be more accepting and knowledgeable in their approach to members of our community.
I'm sorry. Call me slow. I'm not the fastest chicken out the country. But seriously, I don't understand. I just started seeing on LinkedIn people saying he, she, or her, she, and he, him, or whatever. But what, like, I don't, honestly, you just explained what they want to be known as, but what does it mean? Like, what, like, do I go on LinkedIn and I put he, him, or something? Like, what does it mean?
I think it's just a way to show solidarity really towards the transgender community, as well as to show that it's really another way in which to be identified or to self-identify on where you stand. So for instance, there are some people who no longer identify as she or he, even though they may visibly look like that. So it helps people to not kind of put their foot in their mouth as they're speaking, to speak with somebody and call them a he when really they are she.
Okay, so, I got it. So now it makes sense. Like when I go on Twitter and I see people complaining, I think I get it, but I usually keep scrolling. But no, seriously, I look, I can't comment on what I don't understand, folks. Seriously.
No, and I agree. And someone kind of broke it down to me as like, do you identify as being Black, African American, Bermudian? To a certain, what do you identify as? Right. That's kind of how it was broken down to me, and I was able to get it that way. So no, I understand, because I see it and I'm just like, okay.
This is why we have people like Tiffany come to educate us. She's not just here for the audience now, folks.
Yeah.
This brother, he ain't the sharpest tool in the drawer. Look, Jody Bird says, Tiffany Painter, thank you so much for providing such valuable information and perspective. Intersectionality is a key concept that I am finding very helpful to understand. Zakia Johnson Lord says, yes, Jamel, you can go on LinkedIn and put your pronouns. This way it makes it less of an outlier. It is also a way of covering the emphasis on one's appearance and assumptions. Oh, I like that last part.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what Sherry was speaking to, was the assumptions that we make just based on somebody's appearance. And even within our own community, people assuming, like when we're in the States, we're African American, or people assuming that we are Bermudian when maybe perhaps we're Jamaican, or assuming we're Jamaican when maybe we're from the UK. And it's like all these assumptions that we kind of place just on a visual first appearance. How do we break those down? And this is one way you can break them down.
Yeah.
Let me just read one more comment before we let you wrap it up. Zakia Johnson Lord says, what folks have found easier to understand is how Black Bermudians abroad can relate to the irritation with being called African American because we are Black. And that's what you just said. She's like, Tiff, we're aligned. But it's true. It's true. Unfortunately, I do see people putting next to their names online flags now. I just don't like flags. I think they're divisive, and I don't like that Bermuda has a Union Jack in its flag. So that's me and the flag thing. But that's not what we're here talking about. Tiffany, thank you.
Thank you so much.
But we need to find out before you go. How can people reach out, learn more, and even become allies? Working allies with you guys.
So if you want to volunteer specifically to Pride, we're currently looking for volunteers, artists, food vendors, etc. You can go to you can email pridevolunteer@OUTBermuda.org. Or if you are just looking to be involved in Pride in some way, you can email pride@OUTBermuda.org. Or if you would like to talk to me and give me something on my plate, put something on my plate, or take something off my plate and offer to help or support in any way, you can reach me at executive-director@OUTBermuda.org. And so these are the ways you can reach out and connect and communicate with our board. If you want just more information, you can go to OUTBermuda.org and look on our website and just educate yourself and get some awareness out there on yourself. And there's always Google. Everyone who knows me, I'm like, what did Google say? I'm always
Love
Googling
it.
everything, I swear. If I could get shares in Google, that would be great.
It's a good friend. Tiffany Painter, thank you so much for
Thank you.
your time and trust in our platform, and we'll be in touch soon.
Yes, you guys are always so wonderful. You both are, and I appreciate your energy and your platform. So thank you. Happy 500.
Thank you so much. Talk soon.
See you.
Tiffany Painter, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Before we go to break, have you registered to be a part of the exclusive TDH community yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Sign up today to enjoy the benefits of activities and events that we'll have going on throughout the year. Go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and you'll click register right on our homepage. Get it done today. Do not wait, because trust me, you might miss out on the first few events, which only the TDH community will know about. We'll be right back. We're going to take a break, come back with the Daily Play, and wrap it up. Stick with us.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Thanks again to People's Pharmacy Medical House, Lindo's, and One Communications for getting behind us. And thanks again to Tiffany Painter and OUTBermuda for their continuous trust of this platform to have these conversations. Sherry, excuse me, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, she's ready, folks. It's who said it? Quote, overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. And this was an activist and former president of an African nation.
Nelson Mandela.
Gee.
I almost said Jamal Hartman, because you have said these things similar until you said activist and other acting. But you are an activist.
Well, I'm not. I haven't been a president of an African nation yet.
No, you haven't. You're just president of the short club.
See, you always gotta, we were here for like 2 seconds.
Just two.
Look, you even got somebody cheering, look at it. Your club's coming up. They giving you love. Sherry, let's wrap it up. What are your final thoughts on today's show?
The NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements, I totally agree with you. When it comes to the public sector, we must know. In private sectors, they're able to do what they need to or what they want to do. But at the same token, if there's some type of abuse or those kind of things, we should all know. But yeah, they're just scary. It just all depends, right? But I want to know what's going on with the government, especially if taxes are involved. I agree with you, Jamal. When it comes to OUTBermuda, I appreciate Tiffany coming on just to educate us. A lot of times we don't have to agree with some things, but we should know what we're not agreeing with. And I think education and conversations are very important.
Yeah, as far as non-disclosures, I stand by what I said earlier. I believe that when there's public interest, the public has a right to know. Non-disclosures should be pretty much illegal. I know there's a PATI Act where we can get certain information, but I don't think, unless it's a detriment to the country's safety and security, that information should be withheld from the people who are paying to employ the people. As far as Bermuda, look, as a person who's for the cause, I appreciate the direction that the organization's going as far as community. What's that saying? You catch more bees with honey than vinegar. And I think that's what I see in them with the whole community approach. It's definitely something that will probably help them catch more bees, if that makes sense. That said, we have, I think, the premiere coming up on the show very soon, unless he pulls out. We have Damon DeGraff coming up, a brilliant Bermudian. When we talk about awards for Bermudians, he's top of the list for what he's done for Bermudians.
Yeah.
We have Chico NT is coming tomorrow as well, Dr. Gina Taka. We have some good guests coming up. Stay tuned. Folks, go on our website, register for the TDH community. I know a lot of people have been asking where can they find our podcast that I did. Just go on YouTube, Google my name, Jamel Hartman. You can find it. Like I said, prepare yourself. It's not filtered like this show. I use some language Mama wouldn't be proud of, but sometimes you have to speak a different language to get the message across. That said, Sherry, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do, and it's brought to you by or Isaiah Hankel. Don't ever feel bad for making a decision that upsets other people. You are not responsible for their happiness. You are responsible for your happiness.
I love it. I love it. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, please do make it a safe and great day. We're out. Peace.